Hey everyone! Welcome to Update X24H, your go-to channel for the latest news, hottest dramas, breaking stories, and all the buzz from the world of entertainment. We're here to keep you updated, entertained, and always in the loop. Hit that subscribe button and join our growing family, because here at Update X24H, we bring you the news that matters, the drama you love, and the stories you can't miss. Thanks for being part of our community. Let's stay connected, stay updated, and keep the good vibes rolling.
They didn't announce it, they didn't explain it, they didn't even hint at it. On Christmas night, while timelines across the world filled with lights, greetings, and carefully curated moments of warmth, Liu Yuning and Zhao Lucy did something entirely unexpected. They vanished, at the same time, on the same night, without a single post, message, or public trace. In an industry where visibility is routine and presence is currency, that silence landed heavily. Not because something was confirmed, but because nothing was said. Fans refreshed their screens instinctively, not out of panic, but habit. Christmas is never just another day for public figures. It is a moment when audiences expect closeness, reassurance, and a shared sense of warmth. And when that familiar rhythm breaks, even briefly, it creates a pause that feels louder than any announcement. At first it seemed easy to dismiss. Rest is normal. Privacy is human. Yet the timing refused to be ignored. Hours passed, and the quiet remained. No festive photo, no short greeting, no sign that either of them had even glanced at the calendar. Individually, this might have gone unnoticed. Together, it felt different. Not dramatic, not alarming, but undeniably strange. Enough to make the internet slow down and look twice. As Christmas night unfolded, something subtle began to happen. The conversation wasn't loud or chaotic. It was careful, observant. People didn't rush to conclusions. Instead, they noticed patterns. Both had recently wrapped public schedules. Both had gradually reduced online activity in the days leading up to the holiday. Nothing concrete, nothing that could be labeled as evidence, just a shared absence that felt intentional, or at least aligned. And that alignment is what stirred curiosity. Not because it proved anything, but because humans are wired to search for meaning in coincidence, especially when it involves people we feel emotionally connected to. This wasn't about gossip, it was about expectation. The unspoken agreement between public figures and their audience. When certain moments arrive, presence is assumed. When that presence disappears, the absence invites interpretation. By the following morning, the tone had shifted. What began as casual noticing became quiet reflection. Fans revisited recent interviews, not to find clues, but to reassure themselves. They rewatched familiar clips, read old quotes, and examined pauses that once felt insignificant. Not to accuse, not to speculate recklessly, but to understand why this particular silence felt heavier than usual. Two emotional responses emerged side by side. One was protective. Let them rest. Let them live. They owe nothing. The other was curious. Why now? Why this day? Why together? Neither response was extreme. Neither crossed a line. Both came from the same place. Emotional investment built over years of shared stories, performances, and moments that felt personal even when they were public. This is the reality of modern fame. Artists are no longer distant figures admired from afar. They are woven into daily routines. Their voices play during late-night commutes. Their faces appear in moments of comfort and distraction. Over time, familiarity turns into emotional proximity. And when someone familiar goes quiet, even briefly, it can feel unsettling. What many forget is that fame doesn't erase the need for stillness. It amplifies it. The more visible someone becomes, the harder it is to disappear without explanation. Silence starts to look intentional. Rest, begins to feel symbolic. And privacy, something deeply human, can be mistaken for secrecy simply because it is rare. Perhaps nothing extraordinary happened that night. Perhaps it was just a shared choice to step away from the noise, a quiet holiday without expectations, a moment reclaimed. Or perhaps it was something personal, something that didn't belong to the public sphere at all. The truth is, we don't know. And that uncertainty is precisely what made this moment linger. What stands out most is not the absence itself, but the response to it. There was no scandal, no forced narrative, no rush to label or define. Instead, there was restraint, a collective pause where curiosity existed without entitlement. In an online culture driven by speed and outrage, that restraint felt almost unfamiliar. This moment revealed something deeper than a missing post. It exposed how quickly we interpret silence as meaning, and how easily we forget that not every pause is a message. Sometimes silence is simply a boundary, a reminder that even the most visible lies still contain private spaces that deserve to remain untouched. As days passed, schedules resumed. New headlines appeared. Attention moved on, as it always does. Yet the question never fully disappeared. Not because it demanded an answer, but because it invited reflection. About connection, about expectation, about how fame gradually turns personal moments into shared property, often without anyone noticing when that line is crossed. In a world obsessed with access, choosing not to explain can be an act of quiet strength. And maybe that is why this story stayed with so many people. Not because of what was revealed, but because of what wasn't. It reminded us that presence is powerful, that absence can be meaningful too, and that sometimes the most honest stories are the ones that end without resolution. If you've stayed with us until this moment, thank you for listening, and for choosing to reflect rather than rush to judgment. If you value thoughtful updates, calm storytelling, and a space where news is explored with care and balance, we invite you to subscribe to Update X 24 Hours. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that go beyond the surface, stories that respect both the people involved and the audience watching. Thank you for being here, and we hope you'll continue this journey with us on Update X 24 Hours.